Tahni, thank you for joining me on GV Talks.
Thank you for having me. I am very honoured to be sitting in this amazing space, so thank you.
I love when people are excited to come on. Some people come in, they're super nervous, and they just think, I want to do this because it's going to get me out of my comfort zone. But then some other people come in and I'm ready to speak my story, and that's the vibe I'm getting off you right now.
Yeah, I am not worried at all. This is just like a normal conversation. It's I don't know if it's very interesting for anyone, but I'll just have a chat. I'm not worried at all.
Yeah. See, I was having to think about this the other day, and some people tend to get real deep real fast.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's just because I think they think they're not having a conversation with me. I think they're thinking they're having a conversation with the whole of Shepparton.
Yeah. And it sounds like it's obvious though. When it doesn't sound like a conversation, you're like, oh, they're trying to, script it and give it to everybody. But it's like, just have a conversation, see what happens.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll see.
What have you been up to this morning?
Today's a big work day. So I have been at work. I held 12 patients today and just go back to back to back. Quick little lunch break, and then I've got my groceries from Finer Fruits next door where I work. It's handy as anything. And I'll head home and put a slow cooker on for tomorrow.
Yeah, great. Anything interesting planned for the weekend?
Oh, I've got friends coming from Melbourne, so I'm so excited. So excited. They're from one of my osteo friends. She's coming to visit us in our new house, and very first house guests in our new house. So I'm so excited. I've got flowers and this and that. So I think it looks nice. But
yeah. Did you build or?
We've just bought. So yeah, bought a lovely house that someone has put a lot of effort into. So it's lovely. Yeah.
Didn't have the urge to renovate yourself?
Oh, we did that already. Done that. Been there, done that, that's enough.
How was that experience?
Oh, well, I was away. I was living in Melbourne for a little bit of it, so I didn't have to do the jackhammering of tiles and painting of walls too much. I was just there for the fun parts, I guess, when the painting happens at the end and a bit of cleaning and ready to go. But yeah, Ryan did a lot more than me, so he did a very good job.
You got the good end of the deal.
Got a very good end of the deal.
All right, before we get too deep into it, do you want to let the Shepparton people know who they're listening to?
Yeah, of course. So my name's Tahni. I'm 30 now, so that makes me feel really old saying 30. I'm an osteopath with my own business in Shepparton, which has been amazing to have. And I just love just talking to people, having a good time. I don't like to when people say, who are you? It's like, well, I'm not just an osteo. That's not all I am. When you sort of say to someone, what do you do? And that defines them. It's like, well, you've got more to you than just what your job is, So I don't try not to lead with, I'm an osteo, but it's hard not to, isn't it?
It's very hard.
Yeah. Weird. It's a weird thing.
What characteristics would you say define you?
Oh, it's a tough one, isn't it? Highly organised. I'm like type A personality, so super organised, obsessively neat and tidy and ordered, quite structured sort of person. But then I've got that empathy for people. I guess that's in the healthcare field. You don't go into these jobs dealing with people if you don't have any care or compassion to give. So yeah, I think I'm a bit of an empath and just like to help people.
Do you find it hard to have empathy for people when you don't agree with what they're doing?
And that probably comes from you with the gym world as well. You think, what are you doing? You're not doing what I told you to do. I can sometimes. I had to get past the word fix you. I can't fix people. There is no fix. And that took me a long time. I just wanted to fix everyone. I'm an osteo. I can fix people. I can fix your pain. And that sort of narrative gets stuck in their head, my head, and you have to just do so much work to get rid of that, because pain or someone's story, you can't fix that. No one can fix that but themselves. Yeah. So I'm really just like a helping hand to sort of steer in the right direction and give the right advice and give the right tools for them to maybe optimize their pain, optimize their life, optimize their recovery. But at the end of the day, whatever they do outside of the 30 minutes that I see them, that's up to them. And I think I had to let go of that. And that's taken me, I've been out for 6.5 years now. It's taken me probably 4 to really go, it's not my job to fix you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's hard.
Yeah. So the change only happens from within.
Yeah, 100%.
Nothing external is going to do it for you.
Yeah. Coming to me every week for half an hour is not going to do it. But
help.
The more you can, it'll help. It'll help. The more you can take on little pieces of advice every time they see me or every time we chat, the more you maybe make a difference in their lives. And that's the powerful thing. It's not what I'm doing with my hands. Yeah, it might be okay. You know, I might have a little bit of clinical ability and skill, which I hope I do, but yeah, it's more empowering someone to be the best they can be, but without that pressure on me to fix them or on, it's a funny one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you a Shepparton local?
I am. I was born in Melbourne, actually, and I moved here when I was 2, so I basically am. Shepparton raised. I was here through all primary school and high school until I moved to Melbourne for uni.
Yeah. How do you feel about Shepparton?
I actually love Shep. I really do. I didn't. I think most 18-year-olds leaving Shep, you just want to get out and you're not coming back. And I definitely did that. I was out for 5 years, went to Adelaide for a couple of years, but I came back and, you know, my family's here, my mum and dad, my brother. It's familiar. It's like homely. I love that you can go down to the local cafe and you will know somebody. You get, you know, have a 5-minute conversation, see that person, say hi, and you feel like you're part of like a little community. And I'm not sure if that's changed in the last few years in the faith and the fact that I've had business now, and your wider community is different to just your group of friends. So, you know, you meet all these people along the way and you get to say hi at the coffee shop or at the cafes or the supermarket, and that's the one thing I wanted to move away from Shepparton for. I was like, I'm sick of seeing people everywhere. I just want to go away and go to the supermarket and not be seen. Yeah. Whereas now I quite like the familiarity of people. Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, as you get more mature, you realise that connection is unreal and not a burden.
100%.
Like it feels sometimes when you're growing up and you're confused. And
yes, 100%. I want to have friends come. They say, oh, Tahni, you know everybody when you go down the street. And I was like, well, I don't know everybody, but it's just that small town. You do get to know a wider little network of people, and it's sort of nice. It's sort of, you know, not alone. You're not going to be alone ever because someone's always going to sort of smile and say hi. You know, which is nice. Yeah. So that's probably the biggest thing I love about it. And I think Shep's got the best events and things. Like there's always something at the lake, or there's a sporting event, or there's a little market, or the pop-up winter sessions and secret garden gigs. You know, that's amazing. I don't know if anyone in any other town has that sort of thing.
Yeah. So I had someone sign up at the gym just recently, like, what's there to do in Shepparton? It seems really boring. If you look, there's plenty of stuff to do.
100%, yeah.
It's not like, I don't think it's as obvious as some of the other towns.
No, like there's not a beach, obviously. Yeah. Like if you want to go to the beach, maybe go for a bit of a drive. But, you know, it's proximity to everywhere. It's proximity to the river, the beach, the snow, the mountains.
The city.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things to love now.
What did you find out about yourself when you moved away from Shepparton?
I found I was homesick. I found I was...
But 5 years is a long time to be away from home.
I was away from home for 5 years, yeah. I actually had a year off after year 12. I had a gap year, which I think I needed. I needed to just have that year of taking pressure off because I was quite studious and really wanted to achieve. And I thought, right, a year is going to be great just to step back, especially if I'm going to a 5-year course. So I stepped back from it and was ready to go to uni. I thought I was ready to go to uni. And so I moved down to Melbourne and I moved onto campus at La Trobe, Bundoora. So I'm not sure, a lot of Shepparton people do go there. And I was hysterical, absolutely hysterical. I think I lost 5 kilos in 2 weeks. I was just vomiting all day. I thought there was something wrong with me. We were going to every doctor, nothing, no one could figure it out. And then someone said to me, maybe it's anxiety. I was like, I don't have anxiety. I'm like high performing. I'm here for a reason. I'm studying this course. And turned out it was a mild, well, it was more than mild at the time, but I was just making myself sick over it. Making myself absolutely sick. And I'd shut myself in my dorm room. And, you know, a college dorm, it's pretty intense. If you've ever gone to uni and lived on college, it's intense. They're waking you up at 4 a.m. to march you around corridors in O-Week, and they're drinking every night at the pub. And I was there to learn. I was there to go, I'm going to be the best osteo I can be. I can't be drinking every night. So, yeah, it was horrible. It absolutely was horrible. And I'd spend my minimum 4 nights there. And I'd drive back to Shep and I'd cry all the way back to Melbourne. all the way back. And then on a Monday morning at uni, my poor friends, I don't know how they're still friends with me. I just would cry. I'd sit in the library and I'd cry. And I'd just be devastated. And this went on for 6 months. And 6 month mark, I finally started to get a little bit more comfortable with the people I was around. And then the year sort of passed and I got out of that college situation and into a house with some girls that I had met. So there wasn't, it wasn't all bad. It was a silver lining that I met people to move in with. And that was it. And that was the start of then me thriving in Melbourne. So it was just that first year. But I think there's a lot of people that might battle with moving away. And I could have come home. My mum said to me, move home. And I said, no, I can't. Because I'm just going to go back to my old job. And I was working at a jeweller's and it was amazing. But that's not what I wanted for my life. I wanted to study. I wanted to do certain things. And I had to push through that feeling of sick. Just sick.
Yeah, I remember I heard a story once and I'm going to paraphrase it and I'm going to get it wrong. But let's say somebody went and signed up for the basketball team and they got cut. Their coach was really hard on them. And then they didn't grow up to be the best basketball player in the world. Maybe that coach shouldn't have been as hard on the kid as he was. But if you truly believed you were going to be the best osteo or basketball player, you wouldn't let that tough time deter you from making it to your end goal.
Yeah.
And there's the example that you just said, and that did happen to Michael Jordan.
Oh my gosh.
Do you know what I mean? He was cut from the high school basketball team, but he didn't let that
keep going.
Deter him.
Yeah.
What did you use any strategies to deal with your anxiety?
I got onto peppermint. So peppermint tea was my best friend. Peppermint tea, peppermint oils. The biggest thing was controlling the environment as much as I could. So that was hard though, because the control of the environment was hard in a uni situation. So I probably didn't cope with it as I would now, or as I would give advice to someone now. I think we just pushed through. But I was involved in calisthenics down there. So that was the one thing I did sign up for when I went down. I'd been in calisthenics in the Shepparton community since I was 6. So it was the one constant I knew, and I knew that I was good at, I enjoyed, and I was safe in that environment. So I joined a club, and that Wednesday night from 6 till 10 I was there, and it was the saving grace of my week. Yeah. It was amazing.
What do you think of that culture at uni, like the O week and stuff like that? You don't go there to do that sort of stuff. But it's forced upon you. It seems
super forced upon you. I had to lock myself in my room. There was a scavenger hunt of some description, and I'd got word that there were things like you had to go skinny dipping in the Yarra in the city, and you had to jump on a random person's back in the city, and these were all things you had to do, just had to do. And someone said to me, Tahni, you don't have to do anything. You're 19 years old. You don't have to be forced to do any of those things. But that's the culture, and it's so wrong, so wrong. I have friends that thrived in it, but it was not for me, and it's not for everyone. And I think that really bullying nature of it is just so wrong. And the other thing was, you'd go to all these nights in a row in O week, and you'd meet all these people, and you'd have a good conversation with them, and I'd see them the next night, and I'd be like, hello, and they wouldn't remember me because they're blind drunk.
Yeah.
And I'd just think, oh my God, I'm starting again. I'm not making any friends. And but to make friends, you sort of had to be in that sort of pub drinking scene. It's definitely a culture that needs to change.
Yeah. You said you've kept some of your friends from uni.
Yes, I have a group of 6 of us went to uni all the way through.
Yeah. From
0 to 5 years, and it was a really tough course. Osteo it was, I think it was 25 contact hours a week, which is quite a lot. I think teaching might be about 10. Don't quote me on that. But so we had 25 contact hours where we had to be there, and it wasn't like you could just do your online lecture. You just had to be there. And so we spent a lot of time together. And, osteo is a hands-on job, so it's a hands-on course. That first day was finding everyone's bones and shirts off and everything just bare. So, we got to know each other pretty well, pretty quick. But without those 6 girls that I was super close with, we wouldn't have got through. We wouldn't have got through at all. So it was a big course, but it was worthwhile.
Is it still 5 years for osteo?
I believe it's changed now. I did a bachelor and then a master's, so 3 bachelor and 2 masters. It used to be that. and there'd be 50 people in the cohort. And now I believe it's a double undergraduate, which allows the uni to take on more because they don't have to pay for the master's spots. So I think there's like 150 kids, and it's 4.5 years, but don't quote me on that one.
Yeah.
But it used to be a full interview process, interview, ATAR score, and it started with 50. And I think we ended with 40 because it was so hard, people dropped out.
Yeah. Did you start working after you got your bachelor?
No, you can't.
You can't.
have to do your master's.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, so your bachelor's useless to you, basically. It's just a formality to get to your master's to then finish. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. For people who don't know, can you describe what an osteo does?
Yeah, we get this question a lot. Osteo is a form of manual hands-on healthcare, I suppose. We're primary healthcare practitioners in terms of we are trained to do medical examinations and neurological examinations to identify if someone has something more sinister or more significant that needs further investigation. So we would refer them off to their GP. But manual healthcare, I suppose, like chiros, like physios, we're there to help to alleviate pain or treat injuries, and we do that differently. Chiros do a lot in terms of alignment of the spine and the nerves that occur coming off the spine, but the physios are very good at their rehabilitation, their injury control and prevention, and treatment. Osteos have very broad, we look at the body as a whole, like, the mind, the body, the connection with all of that, and the circulation, the mechanics, the lymphatic system. So we're a little bit different in the way we look at it all, but we all ultimately try to get to the same end point for everyone. It's just a different way of getting there. Yeah.
So what problems would you see when you say you look at their mind?
Yeah, so I probably maybe a little bit different. I try to take in the whole patient, and if they're coming to me with back pain that never had been an issue before, and you sort of think, oh, it's really acute, what's going on in their life? And you might ask, is any other extra stresses at the moment? Because we know that pain presents itself sometimes when there's emotional stress or there's psychological stress. For example, the shoulder is often where people carry emotional baggage. The lungs and the chest is grief. The hips is anger. So there's a lot of emotions attached to the physical body, and we just need to be aware of that, and just to know that it could be a factor in someone's pain or injury, maybe not improving. I just keep that in the back of my head. I don't go in there straight away and say, what's your issues? That's for a psychologist or a trained professional in that world. But we can definitely try and give them tips to manage overall stress and anxiety, because that's going to come out physically. I mean, as I know with my vomiting at uni, it was a physical symptom, but it was nothing wrong with me physically.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. What about circulation? How do you treat that?
So we look at the venous and arterial supply. We look at where perhaps they've got some blockage or some restriction. Maybe it's from a muscle that's affecting blood flow to a certain area. Maybe they've got lymphatic issues. Maybe they've had a cancer. That's what I'm working on now, that post-mastectomy from breast cancer, when they've had a heap of lymph nodes removed from their arm, they can end up with lymphedema, which is a swelling and a fluid accumulation in the arm because the lymph nodes have had some damage. So we look at, all right, well, what can we do to optimize the flow so that this arm doesn't continue to swell? So we look at where the points in the body are that are lymphatic drainage points, and we do manual work on that, or we give them other advice and exercise prescription for that specific condition. Yeah.
Yeah, my grandmother had lymphatic fluid in her legs, and they said all she needed to do to get rid of it was to walk, but she couldn't. She had a broken hip.
Oh no.
And they couldn't replace her hip because she had a weak heart.
Oh no. And this is what I see every day. This is people with so many things going wrong.
Yeah.
It's not just as easy as go and walk, is it?
Yeah. Do you think like let's say somebody's got a sore shoulder or back, what I think people tend to do is want to stop using it, stop moving. But a lot of these injuries would benefit from moving.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the most common misconception, is that you hurt your back, you just lay on the couch, right? No, wrong. yes, there might be times you need to rest, but there's always something that you can be doing to keep blood flow to the area for healing, So I think there's always something you can do. To move is the most important thing, safely.
Yeah. Would you say, what area of the body do you treat the most?
I do a lot of chronic pain, which is the whole body. So people with chronic pain syndromes, and that's quite complex because they have pain in all different areas for no reason that they can be, identified. So I have a lot of that. And then I have a lot of headaches and neck pain. So I do a lot of headache and neck pain patients. That's one thing I really love to do. And the rest is just a mixed bag every day, honestly. You might have a kid with shin splints, and then you might have an older person with plantar fasciitis, and then someone with chronic shoulder injury, chronic back pain, postural stuff. So much of this postural decompensation because of the horrific posture we've got at laptops, at phones, at desks, at everywhere. So it's just everything. But I do a lot of headaches and neck.
Yeah. You summarised like what a chiro does and a physio does, but like for like you said, yours is very broad. Like, how would I know I was going to the right person?
Yeah, I don't think there's a right person. I think you've just got to find the right person for you. I think I send people to chiros and physios all the time.
Yeah.
I refer to all of them. I refer to other osteos. I think you need to know as a practitioner yourself when to refer off and when you might not be the best for that person. And that's a big thing as well, because at the start, as I said, you want to fix everyone and you think you can fix everyone, but you can't. And if something isn't clicking with you and the patient, get someone else's opinion. And so I don't think there's a right or a wrong person. If someone said to me, I've got tennis elbow, who do I go to? I treat tennis elbow, a physio treats tennis elbow, a chiro probably does as well. But we all just do it differently.
Yeah. So you should probably trial
them.
Trial every one of them until you find which one relieves the pain.
Working, yeah. Yeah, because we're all going to have different tools in our toolkit to be able to work on those conditions, and what one person might have work well for them, the next person won't. So, yeah, I think it's just knowing where your limit is and where you know that, okay, I've done as much as I can, this patient should be changing and I need to refer them now. Yeah.
When you refer them, like, I don't know if you've had this situation before, but like, do they respond negatively to that? Like, you didn't fix it. Like, what's going on?
No. I think that's about communication, though. I think if you've got the right communication from the get-go, people are going to be grateful. And that's the feedback I've got, is they're grateful I don't string them along for too long. Because if I'm honest and to the point at the start, and I say, look, this condition typically alleviates itself within this amount of time or this amount of treatments. If I'm not getting any change after 3 visits to me, that's it. We're going to have to start investigating. And I don't just drop them like a sack of potatoes. Like, you don't just go, see ya, good luck.
Yeah.
You have to give them some paths to go on. And I think they appreciate someone directing them in the right direction, because it is a pretty big system out there. Do I go to a GP? Do I go to Chinese medicine? Do I do acupuncture, dry needling, podiatry, psychology, physio, chiro, it's huge. And I think I really like being able to say, right, well, we're going to try this, and then come back to me. And if that hasn't sort of settled, let me know. We'll go through a different path for you and we'll try and figure it out. Might not be me figuring out, but I'll figure out how to help them.
Yeah, of course. It's great. It's obviously that's the way it should be.
Yeah.
Would you say that most people are like that?
I'd like to hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other criticism I hear about the industries that we've spoken about is that it feels like the treatment's never going to stop.
Yeah.
I'll see you next week. Yeah. I'll see you next week.
Yeah.
And I think the people who say that they don't see the full picture.
Yes, 100%. You've got to understand, though, if someone's coming to you with like a 20-year history of headaches, I'm sorry, it's not going away in 6 months. Like, it's going to take a little while of implementing change in their life and a little while of maybe some manual treatment, trying to, at the end goal, get them to self-manage. But, yeah, again, communication is key. And if that person believes that it's going to be fixed in 3 visits or 1 visit, that's wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen the same thing with posture, with clients who come to the club and it's just like it's really bad.
Yeah.
It's like it's going to take a very long time
To reverse.
it because like how long have you not dealt with this problem? Like 10 years, 20 years?
And this is what I'm saying to the kids I'm seeing now, because this whole, technology era has, arrived upon us. They're not even understanding the implications they're going to have in the next 40 years. It's, we think we're seeing people that are in pain and decrepit now. Well, these teenagers, I don't want to think about how they're going to be. They're already hunched over like little hunchbacks of Notre Dame, just, over their devices, and it's just scary.
So what's some advice you could give to them?
Technology-free time. No, it's keeping your laptop at the right height. It's not looking down at a screen, keeping it at the eye level. The top third of your screen should be in line with your eyes. Not jutting that chin forward as you get so more enthralled in your phone or iPad. We end up just jutting our chin forward and everything's straining through the back of your neck and and move. You just got to move, exercise, stretch. Foam roll, do something.
What muscles would you recommend somebody hit at the gym to bring their head back, their upper traps?
Yeah, so you're looking at all your lat posture. So if you can reverse a lot of that kyphosis, that mid-thoracic real bend, then we can get the head more straight. So it's probably not so much about what's going on in the neck. It's more lower in the chain. If we can get you standing up straight, your neck should just follow in line,
Yeah. Obviously, I see a lot of people hitting the anterior part of their body. How often should somebody work their posterior?
Just as much.
Oh. Yeah, but then, so how I look at it is, you hit your anterior in the gym, but then there's also all these other things, outside of the gym, like the laptop, the phone and everything. So I feel like you should hit your posterior a little bit more.
Yes.
To make up for
100%.
those general living.
Yes.
Postures. Forward movements,
yeah, because we're all so forward of their body. And I think that's another thing, with our treatment-wise, is we, as manual therapists, need to remember that people have a front. Yeah, they actually have a front. They come in complaining about their backs and their necks and their shoulders. So, so often we get them on their stomach for the whole time and work on the back of their body, but everything's so tight and contracted at the front. Diaphragm, the pecs, everything needs opening and releasing so that is possible.
Yeah, the tightness that a lot of people feel through their back is just their chest coming forward and pulling that muscle tight.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, of course, you're burning pain through the back of your shoulder blades because they're on stretch that whole time. And when someone goes to lift something, ping, there goes their back or their neck, and they come into us in that state. And that's when you have to do the education and go back to what was the actual cause. It wasn't lifting the shopping bag.
Yeah.
You can't avoid that for the rest of your life. Yeah.
Lifting the laptop up, that's a great one. And that's the one I've only ever heard of recently. I do actually have a stand.
Yeah.
I don't usually keep my laptop here, I usually have it in the other room.
Yeah.
What about, do you have any other tips like that for people?
Tips like that. The height is huge. And people that are at desks and things like that, I think that they've heard that old rule of, get up every hour. I think there's one now that's sit for 40, stand for 15 and then move for 5 now. So that's that 60-minute block. So that's a really good one. But I think if you can keep some general strength, if someone can do strength and conditioning or some sort of strengthening twice a week, I think it makes a huge difference to their pain.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be heavy. It just has to be get in, do some resistance work, and that's got your postural muscles activated, and that's going to protect you throughout the week of whatever you're doing. Yeah.
Another one that I've read about and I've actually purchased myself is I've got a hip pillow that I attach to my leg, and my hips, they don't lay on each other. They stay slightly apart. So it's between
your knees?
Yeah.
Yes, I give that to a lot of people, that advice. And you sleep on your side with it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I do feel a lot more comfortable.
Because you're not rotating
sleeping
all night. Yeah, perfect.
But I kind of feel like I'm a bit of a Superman. I've never had any real... really issues, yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, it's good for now. So
keep doing what you're doing then. Just keep going with it.
I had a flick through your page, obviously before you came in, and like a lot of your clients obviously really appreciate what you do.
Oh, sometimes. Most of the time, yeah.
Well, if you can get someone out of pain,
You've made a huge difference, yeah.
you've changed their life.
100%, yeah. I'm so lucky to be in that job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that kind of, did you think about that when you wanted to be an osteo? Like,
I thought about being an osteo because my mum was a nurse and she just seemed to know everything when we were growing up. Like, what to do with what illnesses and injuries or whatever, what medication and what this and what treatment. And I was like, I need to know that. If I'm going to have kids, I need to have that knowledge.
Yeah.
And I really probably wanted to do medicine, and I didn't get 99.9 and I wasn't going straight into medicine. There were pathways to do it, but I thought, oh, osteo, that's a good job, and private practice, I could have my own hours, the lifestyle appealed to me more than a medical doctor would, because that's a hard gig. That's a really hard gig.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just wanted to do something that A, would be with people, B, would be with healthcare, but C, that would help someone or make a difference, and that's all you can ask for, really, make a difference somehow.
Yeah, and that's what you feel like you've achieved in hindsight?
I think so. Make a difference is a big one, and I think that I am lucky to have people that do thank me for making a difference on a daily basis, and that's lovely. That's so humbling, and it's so lovely to be involved in their story. Even though, as I said, it's not me doing the work, it's just me giving them some advice and some tools and some help along the way. But there's a lot of other things you can make a difference in people's life. A lot of people say, oh, I'm just a tradie, I don't do anything useful for people. Well, you do. You change their life. You put that bench at that height so that they can, sit up and sew all night. I don't know, something, there's always something that is in everyone's job that can help people, if you find.
100%.
Yeah.
People need to meditate on what they're actually doing. It's not as simple as what you do.
Yeah.
Things are more complex than people realize.
How you make them feel.
Yeah, and like you affect people's lives as well, and like the way that you just even say hello to your clients can completely change their day.
100%. It often makes them cry. I'll say, hello, how you going? And then the waterworks come on, and it's just someone listening to them, a non-biased, non-emotional, person.
Yeah.
That just will listen to them for 5 minutes.
Yeah. Can you think of any one client that maybe you've treated that you can talk about, mentioning names, that has really appreciated what you've done, or that for a fact you've changed their life?
There was, that's a hard one. Really hard one. I remember a lovely, lovely patient came in. She was, I reckon she was 82 on a walker, and could not walk without it. Could not walk. And she'd been to the doctor, and, it was just painkillers and medications, and nothing was getting better. And I think I saw her twice. Like, it was just a really contracted hypertonic spasticity sort of in her muscle in her hip, and we did some work on it. I think it must have been 2 treatments, and she hasn't used a walker since, and she's 85, or 84. I've seen her for 4 years on and off, when she needs me. She's like, I still remember that day I came into you with my walker and I could not stand up straight. And now she walks even without a walking stick.
Yeah.
And you think, it is not fair to say that someone's old, so bad luck, you're on a walker. That's not an okay just assumption. It's not fair to just put them in the bundle of, oh, you're old. Oh, it's arthritis. No, have a go. Let's see what we can do with it. And it might be that there's a lot of degeneration there and they need that walker. It might be 100% the case, but have a go. They're still people.
Why don't the doctors refer more?
I think they refer to physios a lot, and I do have a lot of medical doctors that do refer to me now, but I think there's also a misconception about what osteos can do for a patient as well. Like, I think it's just unknown. It's an unknown. They're much more aware of what physios can do, so that's always really good that at least they're referring somewhere to allied health. But I don't know.
Yeah. How have you found running your business locally?
Oh, so lucky. I'm so lucky. I started off, I think my first week was 5 years ago, and it was 20 people in my first week, and I thought that was just amazing. I was like, where did all these people come from? And I really don't think they all needed treatment. I think they were just coming to support me because it was my first week. So that was so lovely. And by the end of the 6 months, I was seeing 30 a week. And then by the end of the first 12 months, I was up to my 60 a week. And it was insane. I was working ridiculous hours and just being really tired. I did that for 3 years, pretty hardcore. And the last 2, I've really backed off and found a number per week that I'm able to do physically, mentally, because I don't want to break down either. You know, it's a manual job. I need to keep my body for as long as I can.
Yeah.
So it's been so lovely though. The support is insane. Like, you know, you end up treating a whole family. You have the mum, the dad, the uncle, the sister-in-law, the grandmother, because they all talk and say, oh, Tahni helped me with this. Why don't you ask her if she can help you with that? And they trust you, I suppose. They trust you and your opinion. So I've been so lucky to get to know so many families, or whole workplaces, like a whole workplace comes to me, or a whole group of people from that family. Yeah, it's so lovely. So I'm very lucky. I think if I wasn't in Shepparton, I don't think I would have had the growth as quickly, or even if, at all. I don't know. I'm not sure.
You went straight into running your own business, or you worked as an osteo somewhere else?
Worked in Adelaide, the biggest clinic over there actually, Southside Osteo, and that was an amazing job, and we moved there for that job. It was incredible. I think my first day as a new graduate out was 25 people that week, and I didn't know what to do with them. I was just like, what do I do with this? My friends were seeing 3 people a week in Melbourne because it's so saturated there. So I hit the ground running, and I was mentored incredibly well every week, you know, a one-on-one session, and that continued for 2 years, mentoring. So it was so good. And I think to hit the ground running so quickly, you know, you get that experience up that you can't buy. You can't buy experience.
Yeah.
So you just have to keep going. And my boss was incredible. She was such a high achiever as well. But she'd say, have a go at this. If you can't do this technique or whatever it is, come and knock on my door. I'll come and fix it while they're here, so you don't feel like you're sending someone out the door not quite right.
Yeah.
So amazing.
Was she your mentor, or was that someone separate?
Yeah, so same person. There's a lot of mentors in the osteo world, but she was my boss and mentor. Yeah. She was great.
Yeah. Did you feel comfortable doing that? Because, like, let's say I'm coaching and I see another coach do something wrong, I would never go up and tell them in front of their client.
No, she was very tactful.
Okay.
Yeah, very tactful. She'd say, oh, this is a little bit stuck, you need a little bit more of my force, because she was a lot taller and longer, and she'd word it in that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, she would never undermine us, ever. So it was very helpful. Yeah. And she had a lot of confidence in us, which gave us confidence in ourselves. You know, if someone's got confidence in you, they think you're going to be fine. It's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so important, I reckon.
Yeah.
And like, it's so hard when you very first start. Like, you've done the study, like
you should know what you're doing, right?
Like, you've got good posture. Do you know what I mean? Like, you've looked after yourself. Like, you should feel confident to do it, but you really need that person above you to believe in you before you can believe in yourself.
Absolutely. I think that's with any job though. Like, you just need that mentor or that support person. And I think moving over to Adelaide, I was actually on a scholarship program with this, with Southside Osteo. So that was my last 3 years of uni, 3rd, 4th and 5th year. She had a scholarship program set up. So we went there every year for a week, and we had a student week, and we'd treat some patients with supervision, and we'd do some workshops, and we'd get to know the staff. So by the time I actually moved there, I knew the place inside out, so it was comfortable. And at uni, an osteo at uni, we had to see 250 patients in our student clinic. Yeah. So we had done it over and over again. It was just, now there were people paying you a lot of money to get it right. Pressure. Yeah.
Is Shepparton saturated in osteos?
No. I think there could be another 10. Like, we are just all so busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said you've got the perfect amount of clients now.
I see 45 to 50 a week. now. So that's a 5-day week. So I try not to see more than 10 a day.
Yeah.
I believe I went more into autopilot mode when I was doing that, and I wasn't really looking at the patient as a patient. I was looking at it as just another person in the door.
Yeah.
So 10 a day is good for my body. It's good for them. And I've found that I've got too long a wait to be able to take on new patients now. So I unfortunately can't, because I can't have all my existing base not be able to get to me when they need me at certain points. So I've cut my books off to new patients, except for lymphedema, because that's where I'm going into, that lymphedema world. So I see new patients for that, obviously. But I find it really hard saying no to new patients because, everyone just wants some help or some advice, and that's really tough to have that conversation on the phone with them. But I've got fantastic people that I refer to, other osteos in town. I refer to all of them, and I've got a relationship with all of them. We have conversations, we have coffees, we have catch-ups. It's great. And I think if you're competitive with your own colleagues, that's not always a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm friends with another osteo in town, and I had that conversation with him the other day. He said, somebody comes in pain and you're too full to treat them. It's so hard. Like, what do you do? Like, this person's in pain.
They need to be seen by someone.
Like, do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Send them down the road. Yeah.
Yeah. But and this person's quite busy as well. Do you know what I mean? Like you said, there's probably room for a couple more osteos in town by the sounds of it.
Yeah. But it's just about, they need to be seen. They need to be seen this week. So, it's not all about me, and me getting the glory. It's not a glory thing. It's an interesting thing. But I'm very lucky to have settled at that number that I'm happy with and that I'm comfortable with. And you still always feel guilty that, you're not seeing enough, or you're not helping enough people, or, you're not at work enough. But I'm happy with it, and it doesn't really matter what anyone else thinks, because, work comes second to my life.
Yeah.
And that's always how it should be for everybody,
Was there a stage where that wasn't the case? I think when you're on the very start of the journey, you kind of you give a bit of yourself away.
Oh, 100%.
And then you learn that tough lesson in one way or another.
Super tough. You get injured, you have a burnout. I probably got close to that last year. Because COVID made us busier for some strange reason. Everyone was at home and I guess becoming active and weekend warriors and going for runs and that made us busy. But it was probably mid last year that I sort of went, I've got to stop and have a holiday or have a break. I think it'd been 14 months without a break as such. A long weekend here and there, but not a full break. So I know not to do that now. I know that I just, I allocate one day a month completely off, and I might do appointments on that day, or I might do book work, but it's not with patients. It's off, switched off. So it's just putting in place things that work for you. Not everyone might need that though.
What is your goal moving forward?
I'm pretty happy where I am right now. I'm pretty happy just doing a good job of the people that I see and the business that I run, and being proud of that. But I'm moving into that lymphedema space. So I really want to set up a really good system in Shepparton, because there is very limited access to lymphedema care. They have to travel everywhere. They have to travel to Bendigo, to Melbourne, and these people are often sick and going through chemo and radiation, and they just need somewhere here that is good. So I really want to set up some sort of like early surveillance for lymphedema and management and maintenance. And I'm already linked in with the hospital, the breast care nurses there. They're fantastic. They refer patients to me for that. And I think in time, in the coming months, once everything sort of settles in my world, I will be able to establish that sort of, early detection and management of lymphedema with post-cancer.
Yeah, that sounds really important.
So
how exciting.
Yeah, it's exciting. Yeah. Good. We just need a little bit of time to set it up, but that'll come. Just a bit busy at the moment.
Yeah. We've got the track record of pulling the trigger and getting things done already, so it's gonna
tick the boxes.
It's gonna happen, obviously.
It'll happen.
What goals do you have outside of your career?
Oh gosh, goals. I'm really funny with goals. I'm not someone that sits down and writes goals and 5-year, 10-year plans, because if they don't happen, it's going to send me into a spiral of like, what, you just failed. you just failed. You didn't achieve that. And part of me felt that last year. We had a 7-week holiday booked to Europe, and I am the sort of person that throughout uni, every holiday break, I'd go home and I'd work. All my friends would be going around, the world, and spending what little money they had. But I'd come home and I'd work, and then I set up my business and I just work, waiting for this trip. And then the trip got cancelled, didn't it? COVID happened, and this trip got cancelled. And, that was a goal of mine, to get overseas and to do a lot of things and see a lot of things over there that I wanted to see before maybe having a family or doing that later down the track. And I think that is exactly the reason I don't have goals laid out so structured, because that really threw me. I thought, oh my God, I'm not going to get overseas. I'm 30 now. I'm running out of time. It was just horrible to think, oh my gosh, I've wasted all this time just working. So goals wise, I don't know. I just want to continue just having a really good work-life balance, enjoying my life when I'm not at work, staying active, staying fit. I do calisthenics, so I've done that since I was 6, and I'm a coach as well. So I've been so involved, but I've got back out of retirement this year, turning 31 and getting out of retirement. So trying to get my legs up in the air as high as the 16-year-old girls can, and it's hard, but it's I guess that's a goal. It's a goal to get back on stage and perform as a dancer again. And it's fun because I've been in a coach role for so long. I retired at 24.
Yeah. Why did you want to get back into it?
You know what? It's the one thing that I can do that totally obliterates my mind of any other thought. You cannot think about anything else but exactly what you're doing. And the music and the movement of everything, at that time, it sparks joy. And I'm not sure if, again, that's a familiarity thing for me, because it's been part of my life forever. So yeah, I was looking back at some things over the last 12 months thinking, what is it that I love to do? Love actually moving to music. So you know what? Just go back. You're not too old. I'm not too old to do this. And there's a great group we've got. We've got 15 girls, and half are sort of, 28 to 34, and half of the 16 to 21-year-olds, and we're all in the same age group because they just put you in a big bundle when you're over 18. And it's great because, they're learning from us. I'm trying to keep up with them. It's really good. So I'm co-coaching with one of my really good friends, Stacey, and we're both back on the horse, I suppose.
Yeah.
But it's so great. It's, why should you stop something because you're too old?
Yeah.
Footballers still play at 40,
Yeah.
Why can't we still dance at 30?
Yeah, and it's about your enjoyment as well. It's tough when it's a competitive sport because you think you got to be the best in the world to go do it, but you don't.
Yeah.
You just got to, if you want to compete
just
and have fun.
It. Yeah. And I'm a competitive person, so I love getting back on the competitive stage. It's great. I love it. Apart from calisthenics, though, I don't know. I'd love to do a marathon one day. My fiance Ryan just did one in December, and he's a very disciplined person and very, very structured and rigid with his training, and he's very inspiring to be around. So one day I hopefully will take some of that discipline from him and actually train and get this full marathon done. But and maybe a little triathlon or something like that I would like to do one day, just to say that I've achieved it and I've learned something new and put myself out of my comfort zone. I think that's all it is, isn't it? Trying new things but not being afraid to fail. That's a real thing I need to keep in mind, is don't be afraid to fail. I might not be good at Ironmans. I might not be able to swim. I can swim, but maybe not in an open lake, So there's a few little goals like that, but major life goals are just to continue to have that good balance and just enjoy every life and minute and not plan too far into the future. It's not for me.
Yeah. You'll still travel?
I will. It's still going to happen, right? Yeah. It might just look different.
Yeah. No, great. Last question, Tahni. Who locally inspires you?
Oh, gosh. Everybody. I have to probably say my fiance, Ryan. I think he is one of those people, if you knew him, he's very quiet and he's very reserved. He's very disciplined and he's very motivated. He has this incredible, gentle nature, but he's very committed to anything he puts his mind to, and doesn't let anything get in his way of achieving that whatever goal it is. So he is really inspiring to be around, and we've created such a lovely life that we have together, and we're able to share that every day. So we've grown as people together, and that's been so inspiring. So he really inspires me just to be better every day, and be just try harder and look at the positive things, and just be a good person. Locally though, anyone that inspires me are people that will go out, have a go, and not whinge. The people around me, if I find come into my circle of people that seem to be complaining about something, I just don't have time for that. So anyone that is like, oh, I'm going to do this, and this is really positive about Shep, or this is really good, I'm going to try this, or I'm going to stick my neck out and open this business, amazing, good on you. I'll support you any day of the week. Yeah, but they're the people that inspire me. Locally, anyone that's doing that, having a go and staying positive about it. So not actually one person in particular apart from Ryan, but just anyone in that headspace, just staying positive and because I'm a pretty positive person, so it's pretty hard to get me A, staying quiet, or B, frowning. So I think anyone that can look at the positive, the silver lining of anything is my inspiration.
Yeah. How would you describe complaining? Because I've got like a similar sort of outlook on it. Like I cannot stand people who complain all the time, but I've got a kind of a one complaint rule. So like, this is a silly example, but if someone says it's cold, you can say that, it's fine, right? But then if you say it 5 more times in the next 5 minutes, you're just complaining. Like, stop. Like,
you're annoying me.
Yeah. Like if something's wrong, you can say it. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And like, we need to talk about it, we can talk about it.
Yeah.
If you just sit there and harp on about it and don't drop it, I can't be around you.
I've got, my auntie has this funny thing. She says, I'm just explaining, not complaining. So there's a difference between explaining and complaining. I 100% agree with you in that. I have a lot of people that complain to me all day, every day, right? Like they're coming in for a reason.
Yeah.
They've got something to complain about. But it's when I greet someone at the door and I'm like, hello, how's your day? And they just grumble at me or whinge, and I just think, oh, that's good. It doesn't let it get to me anymore. But those people, like if I greet someone and their first thing is just doom and gloom, oh God, I start zoning out.
Yeah.
It's just, stop.
What is an ideal client? Someone who's enthusiastic.
Someone's
and
like
attentive?
proactive and like happily will say what they need to say to explain their pain. Like, yep, have a little whinge and have a complain, because that's fair. But someone that then will go, yep, I'm going to do this. I realise that you're not the only person. I'm going to take control, and then they ask you about you. They ask you a question or two, and it's not that I want to be asked. It's just like, oh, you remember that I'm a person too.
Yeah, and it'll break up your day a little bit.
I learned so
Like,
much. Yeah, learned so much from them.
Yeah,
so lovely.
All right, beautiful. I've really enjoyed this chat. Is there anything you want to leave the Shepparton people with?
Oh, no, just be positive and be smiley. Greet someone with a nice smile. I love seeing people down the street that just smile at me. I say hello to everybody around the lake, so just smile back at me. That's it.
Thanks,
Thank you for
Tahni.
having me.